Drake and Kendrick Lamar just waged the most expensive legal battle in rap history over a diss track. This is the story of how Drake tried to sue his way out of losing a rap beef, and what it means for the future of hip-hop. When Drake filed an 81-page federal lawsuit against Universal Music Group in January 2025, he wasn't just going after any ordinary record label. He was suing the very company that pays him $400 million, making this one of the most bizarre legal moves in music history. The target of his fury? Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us, produced by Mustard, a diss track so devastating it literally broke the internet and allegedly destroyed Drake's reputation along with it. But let's rewind to understand how we got here, because this story starts way before the lawyers showed up. Drake and Kendrick's relationship began on surprisingly friendly terms back in 2011. Kendrick actually appeared on Drake's album Take Care with a track called Buried Alive Interlude. The following year, Kendrick was opening for Drake on his Club Paradise tour. Everything seemed cordial between the Toronto superstar and the Compton lyricist. The first crack appeared in 2013, when Kendrick dropped that infamous verse on Big Sean's Control. You know, the one where he called out basically every rapper by name and declared himself the king of New York. Drake felt some type of way about it, but things stayed relatively calm for years. Fast forward to October 2023, and Drake teams up with J. Cole for first-person shooter, where they coined the term Big Three to describe themselves and Kendrick as hip-hop's holy trinity. Kendrick clearly wasn't feeling that shared throne situation, because on March 22, 2024, he absolutely obliterated that concept on Future and Metro Boomin's Like That. When Kendrick rapped It's Just Big Me, he wasn't just rejecting the Big Three label, he was declaring war. And Drake, being Drake, couldn't let that slide. What followed was 16 days of pure chaos. 8 diss tracks flew back and forth like lyrical missiles. Drake started with Push-Ups on April 13th, then escalated with Tailor-Made Freestyle on April 24th, which was so controversial he had to delete it after Tupac's estate sent him a cease and desist for using AI-generated vocals. Kendrick countered with Euphoria on April 30th, then dropped 616 in LA just 3 days later. Drake fired back with Family Matters on May 3rd, but Kendrick was ready. Within hours, he released not one, but 2 responses: Meet the Grams and the track that would change everything, Not Like Us. Now, Not Like Us wasn't just another diss track. This was a cultural phenomenon that shook the foundations of hip-hop. The numbers alone tell an incredible story. In its first 24 hours, it racked up 13 million streams on Spotify, setting a new record for most streams of a rap song in a single day. By the end of 2024, it had accumulated over 823 million on-demand audio streams in the US alone, making it the second most streamed song of the year. But the real damage wasn't in the numbers, it was in the lyrics. Kendrick didn't just attack Drake's credibility as a rapper, he went for his character, specifically calling him a certified pedophile and painting him as everything wrong with hip-hop culture. The track was so effective that it sparked real-world consequences. 2 days after its release, Drake's security guard was shot outside his Toronto mansion. The OVO store in London was vandalized with "They Not Like Us" graffiti. Drake's Google Maps listing was flooded with markers labeled things like Kendrick's Dog and A minor. The song's impact extended far beyond streaming platforms. When Kendrick performed it at his pop-out concert in Los Angeles on Juneteenth 2024, it felt like a victory lap. The music video, released on July 4th and co-directed by Dave Free of PG Lang, featured shots of Drake's mansion and cemented the track's place in hip-hop history. Then came the ultimate validation. Kendrick was chosen to perform at Super Bowl Licks, where he delivered a sanitized version of Not Like Us to 133.5 million viewers, the most watched halftime show of all time. The Grammy Awards in February 2025 were the final nail in the coffin. Not Like Us swept every category it was nominated for, with Mustard and Kendrick winning Record of the Year, Song of the Year, Best Rap Song, Best Rap Performance, and Best Music Video. Kendrick walked away with 5 Grammys that night, bringing his total to 22 and making him the most awarded rapper in Grammy history. To put that in perspective, Kendrick won more Grammys in one night for a single song than Drake has won in his entire career. Drake clearly felt backed into a corner. His response wasn't another diss track, it was a lawsuit. On November 25, 2024, he filed a petition against Universal Music Group and Spotify, alleging they violated the RICO Act by using illegal tactics to boost streams for Not Like Us. He claimed UMG used bots, payola schemes, and other underhanded methods to artificially inflate the song's success. But Drake wasn't done. On January 15, 2025, he filed an explosive federal defamation lawsuit against UMG, arguing that Not Like Us wasn't protected speech, but actual defamation that damaged his reputation and cost him hundreds of millions of dollars. The lawsuit was unprecedented in its scope and implications. Drake was essentially arguing that diss tracks could cross the line from artistic expression into actionable defamation. The legal arguments were fascinating. Drake's team maintained that when Kendrick called him a certified pedophile, it wasn't hyperbole or artistic expression, but a statement of fact that was demonstrably false and caused substantial reputational harm. They pointed to the song's massive reach and cultural impact as evidence of the damage. This wasn't just some underground beef. This was a global phenomenon that reached hundreds of millions of people. However, Drake faced a significant legal hurdle: the actual malice standard. As a public figure, Drake would need to prove that Kendrick acted with actual malice under the public figure doctrine, established in New York Times v. Sullivan. This landmark case requires public figures to meet a much higher burden of proof in defamation cases, demonstrating that false statements were made with knowledge of their falsity or reckless disregard for the truth. Universal Music Group fired back hard. In their motion to dismiss, they characterized the lawsuit as nothing more than Drake's attempt to save face after losing a rap battle he willingly participated in. They argued that diss tracks are inherently understood as opinion and artistic hyperbole, not statements of fact. The company pointed out the absurdity of Drake suing the very label that had invested hundreds of millions of dollars in his career. The case attracted attention from legal experts who were skeptical of Drake's chances. Samantha Barbas, a legal historian specializing in defamation, called the case weak. Courts have traditionally protected rap lyrics under the First Amendment, recognizing the genre's use of metaphor, exaggeration, and artistic expression. There was historical precedent too. In 2003, a similar lawsuit against Eminem was dismissed when a judge ruled that rap lyrics are stories no one would take as fact and are an exaggeration of a childish act. On October 9, 2025, U.S. District Judge Jeanette Vargas delivered her verdict. The lawsuit was dismissed in its entirety. Judge Vargas noted that the case arose from perhaps the most infamous rap battle in the genre's history, but ruled that Not Like Us was replete with profanity, trash-talking, threats of violence, and figurative and hyperbolic language, all of which are indicia of opinion. The court specifically invoked the hyperbole defense, a legal doctrine that protects exaggerated statements, understood as opinion rather than fact. The judge's reasoning was clear. A rap diss track would not create more of an expectation in the average listener that the lyrics state sober facts instead of opinion. In other words, people understand that diss tracks are artistic expression, not factual reporting. Universal Music Group celebrated the victory, with a spokesperson saying, "From the outset, this suit was an affront to all artists and their creative expression, and never should have seen the light of day. The dismissal was seen as a landmark victory for artistic freedom in hip-hop." But Drake wasn't ready to give up. In January 2026, he filed a 60-page appellate brief with the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit. His legal team argued that the lower court's ruling set a dangerous categorical rule that statements in rap diss tracks can never constitute statements of fact. They warned this could create a legal shield that protects genuinely defamatory content simply because it's delivered in a rap format. The appeal raises important questions about the future of hip-hop and artistic expression. Where do we draw the line between protected speech and actual defamation? Can rappers say anything about each other as long as it's in a song? Drake's team argues that treating all rap lyrics as opinion, regardless of their content or specificity, goes too far. This case has implications far beyond Drake and Kendrick's personal beef. The music industry watched closely because the outcome could fundamentally change how artists approach lyrical content. If the appeal succeeds, it could open the floodgates for defamation lawsuits over rap lyrics. If it fails, it reinforces the protection of artistic expression in hip-hop. What makes this case even more remarkable are the financial stakes involved. Drake's $400 million deal with Universal Music Group made him one of the highest-paid artists in history. For him to sue his own label over a competitor's track shows just how damaging he believed Not Like Us was to his brand and earning potential. The cultural impact can't be overstated either. This wasn't just a legal case, it was a referendum on hip-hop culture itself. Rap battles and diss tracks have been fundamental to the genre since its inception. From LL Cool J versus Cannabis to Ice Cube's No Vaseline destroying NWA, these lyrical wars have shaped hip-hop's competitive spirit. Drake's lawsuit challenged that tradition by suggesting some lines shouldn't be crossed, even in the heat of battle. The timing of everything made it even more dramatic. While Drake was fighting in court, Kendrick was conquering stages. The Super Bowl performance felt like a victory lap, with Kendrick delivering Not Like Us to the biggest audience in television history. The contrast was stark. One artist was creating culture, while the other was trying to litigate it. As we await the outcome of Drake's appeal, which could take over a year to resolve, the broader questions remain. Can you really sue over a diss track? Should artistic expression have limits? And what does this mean for the future of hip-hop competition? What's certain is that this legal battle has already changed the conversation around rap beefs forever. Whether you're Team Drake or Team Kendrick, whether you think this lawsuit was justified or frivolous, you can't deny its historic significance. This is the first time a major artist has tried to use federal court to settle a rap beef, and the precedent it sets will echo through hip-hop for generations. The $400 million question isn't just about money, it's about the soul of hip-hop itself. In a genre built on competition, braggadocio, and pushing boundaries, where do we draw the line? Drake's legal war with Kendrick Lamar isn't just about two rappers settling a score. It's about defining the future of artistic expression in hip-hop culture. And that's a battle worth watching, regardless of how the courts ultimately decide.